ilifanya kazi mzuri sana.
Tutasaidia serikali kwa kupunguza njaa. Naona kama nchi yetu haitakuwa na shida ya chakula.
Yote haya kwenye KBC Channel 1.
La kapena sima bobosa na ngaite atayo zuibo mengo una bateki yoye bolokisa mukame na yakikoluka musala ya secrétaire na yakite koteka zoto na ngaye soki tende na kende na ngashetema
You know, Contra, I haven't forgotten about the fire that you threw in my cousin Teddy Hart's eyes.
Hart Foundation, your family is littered in tragedy. We're gonna finalize it.
Will Smith Jr. stepping up to Contra. What the hell? Who is that? Yeah! Let's get a hell of a super kick. It's Pillman. It's Pillman Jr.
Hart Foundation. We bad. Ooh, you bad, we bad. Ooh, man a pit bull, you know, hear them a poo. One style.
Good evening and welcome to Prime Edition. Tonight, High Court Judge Said Juma Chitembwe is a man who is officially in trouble. In the coming hours or days, President Uhuru Kenyatta is going to constitute a tribunal that is going to investigate allegations of bribery and misconduct filed against him after the Judicial Service Commission okayed that very process. We have details lined up for you, including the latest in politics as well as in business and sports. Welcome to the bulletin, but first things first, the highlights. Judicial Service Commission gives nod to petition seeking removal of Justice Said Chitembwe from office.
Any constituent party, members of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance, that wishes to nominate any person for consideration as a candidate for the position of Deputy President of the coalition to submit the name of such a person.
Those seeking to be Raila Odinga's running mate in the Azimio la Umoja presidential race have until tomorrow to submit their applications.
Tumekuwa na challenge sana upande ya school fees, na kuambia hata kama wamesema serikali wameongeza, serikali wametulipia school fees kidogo, nayo na school fund nyingine baadaye wapunguze, nayo wakaodo wakaongea, so inakuja kama ni 0-0.
And reporting to Form 1, parents complain of high cost of commodities and excessive demands by schools. Caroline Joroge is our sign language interpreter tonight. My name is John Jacob Kioria. Welcome to the bulletin. You can speak to us on Twitter at KBC Channel 1, at KBC TV, as well as on our social media, that is Facebook, also at KBC Channel 1. We are also live on the social media sites. Now, the Judicial Service Commission, that is JSC, has recommended the suspension of Justice Said Juma Chitembwe of the High Court over allegations of impropriety and gross misconduct. The JSC has petitioned President Uhuru Kenyatta to form a tribunal to probe Chitembwe's conduct. Justice Chitembwe had denied corruption allegations following the surfacing of a video in which he allegedly discussed the particulars of a matter pending in court. 2 petitions have also been filed seeking his removal.
Chief Justice Martha Koome, who is also the Judicial Service Commission chairperson, has petitioned President Uhuru Kenyatta to set up a commission to investigate graft and abuse of office allegations against High Court Judge Justice Said Juma Chitembwe. In a press statement, Koome said that the commission had initiated proceedings for the removal of the judge from office pursuant to provisions of Article 168(2) of the Constitution. She noted that the commission had on 27 April this year considered the report of the panel set up to probe Chitembwe and was contented that there was sufficient grounds to instigate his removal. A section of lawyers through the Nairobi LSK branch had also called for Chitembwe's removal, citing abuse of office. 2 other individuals had filed petitions seeking his removal from office over bribery and abuse of office allegations, claiming that the judge had tried to bribe them to withdraw the case. The president shall within 14 days suspend the judge from office and form a tribunal to probe Chitembwe's conduct. The judge will receive half of his pay until conclusion of the probe. And meanwhile, the Judicial Service Commission has announced the shortlisted candidates for the recruitment of judges of the Court of Appeal and the High Court judge. The commission has shortlisted 31 candidates out of 68 applicants for 6 positions of judges of the Court of Appeal. The commission has also picked 104 candidates from 266 applicants to fill 20 positions advertised for the position of High Court judges. Among the candidates shortlisted for interviews set to begin next month are former Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission IEBC chairperson Hassan Ahmed Isaac, who wants to be judge of the Court of Appeal. Bentro Njue, Prime Edition.
And it is imperative to note that the recommendation by the Judicial Service Commission is binding, and within 14 days, President Uhuru Kenyatta is expected to form a tribunal that will investigate Judge Chitembwe. Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party will allow candidates from constituent parties to campaign for their respective elective positions for 1 month, after which a poll will be conducted to identify the most popular candidate to fly the Azimio flag. Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate Raila Odinga said internal competition within the party should be seen to be healthy. Raila spoke when he met Azimio leaders from Nyeri County, whom he asked to be his foot soldiers and cement his support in the vote-rich region. After a meeting with leaders from Laikipia, Kiambu and Murang'a, the ODM leader convened a consultative meeting Wednesday with grassroots leaders from Nyeri County as he seeks to consolidate his support in the region that has traditionally voted against him.
Azimio! Azimio!
Raila told the leaders that the aim is to ensure internal competition does not reduce Azimio's numerical strength in the elective positions. Raila maintained that constituent parties will compete internally for a month, after which the coalition will conduct a poll with the most popular candidate expected to fly the Azimio flag.
Areas where, for example, you have maybe in Kenya, you have Wiper candidate, you have ODM candidates, like we had here Kiambu team there yesterday. We've agreed that they will go for a campaign the first 1 month. After that, we'll do a poll and see which of the candidates is stronger than the others. Then we see the one who is weaker, we advise to step down so that we don't share the votes and then lose to our opponent.
Raila Odinga recounting his relationship with the late President Mwai Kibaki, with leaders from the county promising to reciprocate his Kibaki Tosha moment.
Tunaenda kwa kiwanja. Uwanja imefurika. Na wananchi wanataka kujua. Kila mmoja, mimi ndiye nimekuwa master ceremony ya mwisho. Nimeita Kibaki ya mwisho, ndio mimi ndiye kaongea ya mwisho. Nikaona sasa hii maneno tupeleke kwa wananchi. Ndio sasa mimi kasema Kibaki.
It is fair in morality and it is fair in all manner that you call it is fair in godliness. Mtu akisema ni wewe leo, yani kwa nini usiseme ni yeye kesho?
We've been looking and seeing the information. We are on the right track. We are on the right path. We are following our leader. He's very clear on where we are going and what our future looks like. So I have no hesitation in supporting His Excellency Raila Odinga and the candidature.
On Thursday, Raila is expected to hold a similar meeting with Nyandarua and Nakuru leaders.
Sasa nyinyi ni wanajeshi wangu huko mashinani. Sina wa candidates ya ODM huko. Sasa nyinyi ndio mko Jubilee na mko Azimio.
Hello.
In the meantime, Dr. Noah Wekesa will chair the committee of the eminent persons that will interview possible running mate nominees for Raila Odinga. The committee has resolved to interview candidates who have expressed interest as long as they belong to a constituent party under the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition.
Any constituent party members of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya alliance that wishes to nominate any person for consideration as a candidate for the position of Deputy President of the coalition to submit the name of such a person.
From Nairobi, let's head over to Kisii, where Deputy President Dr. William Ruto has defended himself from claims that he has abandoned his constitutional responsibility as the principal assistant to the president. Ruto is instead blaming the handshake, saying it derailed the aspirations and dreams of the Jubilee government. Ruto, who led the Kenya Kwanza team in a series of meetings in Kisii and Nyamira counties, said all is not lost.
After 1 week off the campaign trail as the nation mourned the late former President Mwai Kibaki, the Kenya Kwanza coalition was on Wednesday back to business. Led by the coalition's presidential flag bearer, Dr. William Ruto, the coalition held an economic engagement forum in Kisii, where the principals promised to relook the current tax models in an effort to protect small businesses.
Kule Senate tulipitisha sheria, Bwana Maangi, ya kwamba we want one single trade permit per trader per year. Kwa hivyo mambo ya kulipisha ushuru kila siku ni kuwaibia wananchi. Na hiyo lazima serikali yetu ya awamu ya 5 itabadilisha.
Tukipunguza gharama ya credit ama mkopo na tutengeneze mahali mnafanya biashara hiyo, mahali safi na mahali sawa, hiyo mapato ya shilingi 100 ama 200 kwa siku itakuwa shilingi 600 ama 700 kwa siku. We can double or triple the income of micro and small enterprises just by reducing their credit and making sure they have access to affordable credit and they have a good place to do their business.
The principal said should they form the next government, they will lower the prices of farm inputs in part of the efforts to spur improved agricultural production.
Mimi nataka niwatangazie hivi. Wale wote mlio katika sekta mbalimbali ya biashara, kama nyinyi ni watu wa mtumba, kama nyinyi ni watu wa mboga, kama nyinyi ni watu wa bodaboda, kama nyinyi ni watu wa wakulima wa sehemu fulani, tengenezeni sako zenu. Tunasema kama serikali ya Kenya, mwaka huu baada ya uchaguzi, vile tunaweka pesa ya CDF 140 million per constituency, mwaka huu tunaweka 200 million shillings per constituency ya biashara ya watu wa chini, ya SMEs.
Ruto using the opportunity to respond to claims that he absconded his constitutional duty as the principal assistant to the head of state.
My good friend, the president himself, has said that the people who have been working with him, the people who are assigned my responsibilities, the people who advise the president for the last 5 years, the president himself has told us they have failed him. Because all the programs we had set out in our Big Four plan did not take off. And I want to say that those of you who are entrusted with the responsibilities by His Excellency the President, you have let him down, you have wasted his second term, you have wasted the time of the people of Kenya.
Sisi tunasema tunataka uchumi badilike, and we cannot afford to gamble anymore.
After the forum in Kisii, DP Ruto led the Kenya Kwanza coalition in rallies in Nyamira County, urging locals to back his economic transformative agenda. The coalition will continue with the Meet the People tour of the two counties on Thursday. For Prime Edition from Kisii County, I am Wycliffe Okech.
Let's change gears from politics to education matters. And thousands of learners reported to Form 1 Wednesday amid an outcry by parents over the high prices of commodities and excessive demands by schools. Parents are now calling on the government to come up with measures to cushion them against the harsh economic times.
At St. George's Girls High School in Nairobi, it's a beehive of activities as the school welcomes its next cohort of Form 1 students. One after the other, learners accompanied by the caregivers are taken through the various stations to confirm whether they have all the requirements as they begin this new chapter of their academic life. Most parents, however, are struggling to ensure their children are in school due to the financial constraints.
Tumekuwa na challenge sana upande ya school fees, na kuambia hata kama wamesema serikali wameongeza, serikali wametulipia school fees kidogo, nayo na school pande nyingine baadaye wapunguze nayo wakaodo wakaongeza, so inakuja kama ni 0-0.
And the most challenging part is the uniform and the shoppings. They are extreme, and because you have no choice, you have to.
This even as they share mixed feelings about the outcome of the Form 1 selection process.
Amesema anataka kufanya hii apewe hiyo kulingana na ile score ambaye amepata, lakini unakuta saa zingine mtoto ameapply huku ametupwa kwingine mbali na nyumbani. Unakuta climate inamuaffect kwa sababu kama mahali pa joto umeletwa mahali pa baridi, mahali pa baridi umetupwa mahali pa joto, so inakuwa na changamoto sana.
He was schooled in another school in Meru, which is a bit far. And then she was done eye surgery and is supposed to be going weekly for the next 1 year. So I decided to look for a school near whereby I can be picking and taking her for the checkups.
The principal of Jamhuri High School, Fred Owar, explains why some students may have missed slots in their preferred schools.
Even here, there are those who may want to come here, but we cannot be able to have them. Because we have 8 streams, we're expecting 384 boys. Not all of them can come, and we have very many applicants. So it is always a question that if we cannot be able to have that space, then maybe we ask the parents to go and look for another place that has a vacancy.
He exudes confidence that the school plans utilize the short academic calendar.
Basically, we can talk about 6 to 7 months of contact time with the teachers, because in December they do the exams. So it means that we have to go overdrive a little to be able to cover the syllabus and do the necessary revision as well.
At the Ocean Girls High School in Baringo County, Elsie Njeri is among thousands of learners who are excited to join secondary schools.
About this school, but I got to know more about this school and I was excited to be here, and as I've seen, it's a very good school. So far everything is okay, we thank God. Everything is in process. Everyone is coming and we are being welcomed in a very warm way.
The admission exercise was smooth at Mama Ngina Girls High School in Mombasa, with the school experiencing an influx of Form 1 students this year. And as Form 1 students join to their respective schools, a number of issues are of concern to parents, especially with the handle of costs that comes in handy. However, the heart of the matter remains that this is a stark reality that they can't escape, with this academic year being packed with August general election. Andrew Kero for Prime Edition in Nairobi.
And indeed, the truth of the matter is that this is a stark reality they can't escape. We wish them all the best. A section of leaders in northern Kenya have supported measures instituted by the government to ensure peace prevails in Marsabit and Komu sub-location of Isiolo County. They said the 1-month dusk to dawn curfew in Marsabit and the disarmament exercise in Komu will curtail criminal activities.
On Monday this week, the government declared a dusk to dawn curfew in Marsabit for 1 month and a mop-up of illegal firearms in Komu sub-location in Isiolo County. The move follows deterioration of security in those areas, with the latest incident being last Thursday in Marsabit, where 5 people were killed, among them a chief and his assistant.
That is the most pressing.
Leaders from the area have lauded the measures.
Our purpose of making this statement is to make sure that the objective of the operation is achieved. Until and unless our herders who are displaced forcefully by armed Kenyans, illegally armed Kenyans from neighboring counties, are contained and our people are able to go back and freely graze.
They further urged the government to act on recommendations made by leaders from the area in previous meetings to curb insecurity.
Therefore, we want to urge the Inspector General of Police, during this security operation, no attempt should be made to close down informal mining village.
Tafadhali, hii ni wakati ambayo tunaenda kwa mbinu ya siasa. Sisi hatutaki umagaji wa damu iendelee. Tunataka hii vita ikome. Tunataka watu waendelee na maisha yao.
They also recommended that a special police unit be set up at Yamiche in Isiolo County to deal with banditry.
ICT Innovation and Youth Affairs Cabinet Secretary Joe Musheru has urged Kenyans to be selfless in their daily activities so as to positively impact the lives of people they serve. CS Musheru challenged citizens to always question their motives as to whether they are truly serving the nation or their own selfish interests. Speaking when he officially awarded a group of public and private servants national honours conferred to them by President Uhuru Kenyatta on Jamhuri Day, Musheru urged Kenyans to emulate those identified for the great role they play in building the nation. Government spokesperson Colonel Cyrus Oguna was awarded the Elder of the Order of the Burning Spear EBS for his dedicated service to the nation. Other awardees included Maureen Mbaka, Chief Administrative Secretary in the Ministry of ICT, Joshua Oscar, the CEO of Continental Renewable Energy, among others.
The individuals have stood out. There's a long process in how people are selected in order for them to get these commendations and awards. And it really is probably one of the highest honors that you can get for public service. Public service as a civil servant or as a private citizen, but a service that Kenya is recognizing through the head of state and saying that you have contributed and we've recognized your contribution and the value that you're adding, and therefore you are someone that can be respected and called upon on many different aspects of the country and in terms of leadership. You can use the EGH, the MBS, all the different titles that you now have after your name. You just need to do your work diligently and sacrifice for the people. And you'll find many of these people, they did not come to me, but I think they found themselves where they are based on their work. They were recommended by different people, and it's recommendations. The time is opened and names are put forward. That's the way it works.
Congratulations to the winners. We're taking a breather when we come back with more news lined up for you, including business and sports. Don't go too far.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723 892 654 or 0734 780 124.
Éramos los que éramos ayer y los que seremos.
Gonzalo, that you owe me one, right?
Ya que no me dejas, ya que te...
Welcome back. You are watching Prime Edition. The High Court has extended a decision cancelling a contract given to Uganda-based Sarai Group to run the Mumias Sugar Company to June this year. Sarai Group had moved to court with an application against the decision, to which Vertox and one of the creditors, Jacqueline Kimeto, opposed. This and more from our courts.
Appearing before Justice Alfred Mabea in a virtual meeting, two applications were filed. One with the Uganda-based Sarai Group seeking to stop the cancellation of the lease for the revival of Mumias Sugar, and the other by a creditor opposing the application. The creditor Jacqueline Kimeto termed the application as a delay tactic to revive the ailing miller. Justice Mabea directed all parties to file and serve the responses in early June. The lease to Sarai Group was cancelled last month, and a new administrator appointed by the court. Meanwhile, two police officers facing murder charges for the 2016 killing of lawyer Willie Kimani and two others appeared at the Machakos court to face charges of killing another man. Appearing before Justice Jojo Dunga following summons, the judge directed they be subjected for mental assessment before trial. Elsewhere, a South Sudanese national, Amir Ahmed, has been charged with obtaining credit amounting to 359,000 Kenyan shillings 261 from Serena Hotel in Nairobi. Amir is alleged to have incurred the debt between 12th and 28th of April this year. He pleaded not guilty and was released on a cash bail of 100,000 Kenyan shillings. The case will be mentioned on the 11th of May for pretrial directions. Finally, one Robert Osiemo has been charged for allegedly stealing 3.5 million shillings belonging to Amal Money Express transfer between 9th and 10th of February this year. Osiemo pleaded not guilty and was released on a bond of 500,000 Kenyan shillings. The case will be mentioned on the 11th of May this year. Serafina Robi for Prime Edition.
Some sad news here. Shock and grief has engulfed Mudhara village in Juja, Kiambu County, after 3 children drowned in a ditch left open by quarry miners in the area. The 3 male children, aged between 7 and 10 years, are reported to have been playing near the pond-like ditch when they all fell inside and died.
The open ditch is said to have been dug by quarry miners to determine where to extract construction materials, but became swollen as a result of the ongoing heavy rainfall poured in the area. A According to residents, the boys were chasing a motorbike tire they were using to play when the tragedy occurred.
Watoto walikuja wakaniita ati watoto wameanguka kwa shimo. Kukujia kuangalia nikakuta ni kweli watoto wameanguka. Mmoja ndio alikuwa amekuja juu. Hao wawili ndio walikuwa chini kabisa.
The body of one boy was found floating while the other two have been submerged in the muddy ditch. Locals explain how they worked to empty the ditch before a generator pump was availed, and as a result, they managed to retrieve the other bodies, which were taken to General Cargo Mortuary. They took issue with quarry owners who have been leaving the sites unattended.
Lakini tulikuwa tumeongea kidogo na tulikuwa na mkutano kidogo upande wa pale St. George kwa shule, na tukaongea kuhusu yale mashimo ambayo yamechimbwa katika hiyo area. Tukaongea na wazee wa kijiji, tukishirikiana tukasema hiyo mashimo inafaa kuzibwa.
What we are appealing to the government and the investors that are coming to mine hizo mawe, wacha watu wache tukiwa safe venye walitupata.
A year ago, 3 people died after a quarry wall in the same village collapsed. The 3, a lorry driver and his 2 conductors, were in the process of loading stones when the tragedy happened. Reporting for Prime Edition, I'm Elvis Otieno.
Journalists in the coastal county of Kilifi want the government to offer them protection as they go about their work. Scribes claim threats from news sources coupled with poor pay have been a major challenge in their output.
Baya Kitsao Kenya Correspondents Association chairperson in Kilifi County urged the government and security entities to cooperate with journalists in ensuring that security is provided to them in the line of duty.
Katika mizozo ambayo imekuwa ikionekana, unakuta kwamba waandishi habari wanapigwa na maafisa wa polisi, wanaumizwa na maafisa wa polisi, na vile vile pia vifaa vyao pia kuweza kuharibiwa na maafisa wa polisi, ambapo hili ni swala ambalo serikali inapaswa kuangalia na kuleta utendakazi mzuri baina ya waandishi habari na vile vile pia na idara ya polisi.
The scribes challenge media owners to increase pay for correspondents who are also facing economic hardship. Elsewhere, Central Region Amani National Congress leaders have asked Kenya Kwanza Party leader Deputy President Dr. William Ruto not to be held hostage by a few leaders from the region. Led by the ANC Kirinyaga chairman Peter Ireri, the leaders asked the DP to nominate someone from another region to be his deputy ahead of the August general elections.
As ANC leaders, we wish to tell the deputy president that he should not be held hostage by a few leaders from our region who want the position of the deputy president. Our support for him is unconditional.
In Kitui County, close to 8,500 residents of Mumoli Ward in Mwingi North have received title deeds thanks to area governor Charity Ngilu.
Miaka mingi kutoka wakati nilizaliwa 62 kutoka kupika leo nimepata title deeds ile ambayo itanisaidia kwa kuchukua loan ama kuchukua naye karibu.
Sasa ile mnaenda kuchagua viongozi, muangalie viongozi ambao wanaelewa sana na shida zenu na vile wanaweza kutatua shida la mwananchi.
While in Kiambu, police have arrested 20 suspects in connection to the sale of narcotics in the area. Area Police Commander Paminas Muchagi said police managed to net over 4,000 rolls of ban among other illegals.
This operation is continuous, and we are going to continue with it until we make sure that Kiambu is completely clean out of these drugs. We are not going to entertain anybody or to allow anybody to bring bang within our areas.
Frederick Mwoki for Prime Edition.
Now, as we live, we make plans oblivious of what is likely to stand in the way of achieving the same. In our weekly segment, Cinemas and Theatre is a story about a young girl or young girl's dream of becoming a superhero, but which is threatened by a terminal illness. Jacqueline Masharia reviews the film Supermodel.
The film Supermodel follows Jo, a witty 9-year-old imaginative Kenyan girl with posters of superhero movies and martial arts fighters adorning her bedroom wall, hoping to one day become a hero herself.
Chinese. Mom's watching a story.
But on a visit to the doctors, she is diagnosed with a terminal illness, leaving her family heartbroken. How to break the sad news proves a big challenge to the family. Her only comfort during these dull times are her dreams of being a superhero. Her caring elder sister Mwix comes up with a way to make the best out of the difficult situation, gathering the entire village to create scenarios in which Jo can be the superhero that saves the day. Although devastating, the film celebrates the power to blur the lines between fantasy and reality in life.
We wanted to blur the line between how Western media has influenced us. I grew up, I think majority of my generation grew up watching cartoons in the morning, watching Superman and Batman and the Justice League. And so I wanted to sort of blur the lines between fantasy and reality. Whereas when we were kids, we used to fantasize to sort of escape our normal world. Jo has to fantasize to escape the harsh reality that she's going through. That, she's sick and she might not stay for long.
The role Jo is played by Stacey Wawero.
We had moments of brilliance with Stacey. So at first it was sort of frustrating, but it was only frustrating to us as adults. Once we saw it from Stacey's point of view, we sort of understood where she was coming from. So we put in place certain measures to make sure she's comfortable. First and foremost, we got an acting coach for her. This was her first time acting. And then also we used to have a child come on set and just stay with Stacey. So in between shooting, she'd have someone to play games with and just chill.
Directed by Likarion Wainaina, Supermodel took 23 days to shoot, with its uniqueness being the appreciation of culture in the society.
What was a unique feature about it was our culture. That's the one thing I did not want to run away from. Most of the time we are so influenced by Western media that we want to copy Hollywood films. I would urge more filmmakers to pick up that approach of just stick to our culture, stick to how rich we are, because we have so much content. And then you'd be so surprised how common our cultures are across Africa.
The film has bagged different awards across the country and around the globe, something Likarion describes as a shock to him as it was unexpected.
The award Supermodel made was shock for us as well. First there were like 5 awards, 10 nominations, we're okay. Then became 10 awards, then became 20 awards. Then next thing you know, we are hitting 50. And as of today, we are at, I think, 78 awards across the world, with an additional, I think, 30 nominations. And then when we got selected as Kenya's Oscar nomination, Oscar submission for that year, that really scared us.
Wait,
Now it's showing on Showmax up until the end of this month. If more people watch it, probably get renewed for another year, so we hope guys continue watching it. You can watch it on My Movies Africa, where you can rent it for 7 days or pay for it for life. You can also watch it on Amazon for our viewers outside of Africa. Guys can watch it on Amazon. You can watch it on the Criterion channel as well. And it's as simple as Googling Supermodel Watch online. And
Supermodel, a story about resilience in the face of challenge, of hope in the imminence of defeat, a story of an African hero in a little girl.
Manzi nahitaji power zako. John in special. She's a little superhero.
Jacqueline Masharia for cinemas and theatre.
Does this mean you are now seeing eye to eye?
Tito, what kind of a question is that? Si wanaonana macho kwa macho.
Class, I want to say that Mr. Fritsch and I, we have decided to put our differences aside.
You want to be what? Campaign manager. You messed me in my dream. You want to mess me again? Stupid.
Kinyanju niko very fresh. Wacha nikwambie Kinyanju. Unajua umoja ni nguvu, utengana ni utaifa.
Mimi acha niendelea kutengana. Wewe hebu jipe shughuli, niko very busy. I am very busy. Wewe wasiana kunisumbua ate business partner na makopa yangu. So guys, let me tell you.
Classmate.
Oh my God! It's Samael! Samael just threw a fireball in Teddy Hart's face!
You know, Contra, I haven't forgotten about the fire that you threw in my cousin Teddy Hart's eyes.
Hart Foundation! Your family is littered in tragedy! We're gonna finalize it! Will Smith Jr. stepping up to Contra. What the hell? Who is that? Yeah! Let's get a hell of a super kick. It's Pillman! It's Pillman Jr.
Hart Foundation.
Time for us to do business now. And the government has doubled fertilizer bags per farmer to 40. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya has ordered the National Cereals and Produce Board to start the distribution of a subsidized fertilizer early next week. Munya has also allayed fears of fertilizer shortage in the country, saying the government has procured enough fertilizer to last the planting season.
Early last month, the government released 5.7 billion shillings to subsidize prices of fertilizer after the price of the commodity jumped to record levels early this year. The fertilizer subsidy fund has lowered the cost of the chemical to 2,800 shillings for a 50 kg DAP fertilizer, 1,850 shillings for CAN, 2,700 shillings for urea, NPK for 3,000, and sulfate ammonia at 2,500 shillings. The government, however, capped the purchase of subsidized fertilizer at 20 bags per farmer, a move that has seen some farmers protest due to lack of the commodity. And today, small and large-scale farmers can now sign with relief after the government doubled the number of bags under the subsidy program to 40 bags from Monday next week.
From the current 20, I've now doubled them so that farmers can get more fertilizer and they need for their planting season and also the top dressing season.
Speaking at the launch of a coffee task force report, Munya has further assured farmers that the country has procured enough fertilizer to last the current planting season.
Kuwako sa transport ya kutoa fertilizer kwa sababu ya fuel kule Mombasa zimeisha. Sasa hakuna shinda yoyote ya kupata fertilizer ile ilikuwa huko North Rift. Fertilizer imeanza kufika, players wamekuwa wengi, choices za wakulima zimekuwa nyingi.
The Agriculture Ministry established the Coffee Prices Stabilization Framework that seeks to address challenges in the coffee subsector in order to improve farmers' earnings, boost foreign exchange, improve food and nutrition security, and create employment.
Past 2 years, I'm aimed at taking back the sector to its rightful owner, the smallholder producer, so that he gets a fair share of his toil.
The CS blamed the challenges experienced in the coffee sector to mismanagement and corruption, with cartels in the sector undermining government efforts to revamp the coffee industry. Caroline Jinga for Prime Edition.
And the government has signed a 2-year memorandum of understanding to strengthen Kenya's creative industry and support the development of the next generation of storytellers. ICT Cabinet Secretary Joe Musheru says the deal will unlock training opportunities for screen sector development, create jobs, as well as facilitate digital consumer protection and local content investment.
Kenya has signed a memorandum of understanding with Netflix, which is the first of its kind for Netflix in Africa, that will focus on skills and capacity development, creative sector infrastructure development, marketing and media spend, digital consumer protection and local content investment.
We want to make sure now with the Africa Free Trade Area, we should be number 3 or number 2. In the world. We compete with the others as we open the market. Because again, creating the single digital market is one of the ambitions our heads of state have had.
On-set training, this is an avenue that Netflix is going to provide us in a manner that Kenyan creatives will find an opportunity to actually practice their art by interacting with the best globally.
The deal is expected to strengthen the voice of those in Kenya's creative industry to tell their own story and build their capacity to better compete on the global stage.
We've worked with them also before, and we continue to discuss with them on issues of having town halls with them in order to sensitize their consumers on how to make the best use of their platform.
And I think Netflix is providing that platform, but not only that, giving opportunities to creatives. We are amazing storytellers in Kenya.
Meanwhile, the Communication Authority of Kenya is reviewing the Universal Service Fund strategy with the aim of expanding ICT infrastructure to ensure that ICT services are accessible in all parts of Kenya, including marginalized areas.
We hope our pledge will be accepted by ITU so that next month when we go to Kigali, we'll tell our story of how we intend to completely transform digitally this country in the next 5 years.
It is only by working together that we can be able to address the identified access gaps that still exist.
KALRO is spearheading implementation of a sustainable climate-adapted and digitally enabled agriculture, targeting 1 million farmers in 6 counties. Ruth Wamboy for Prime Edition.
The 3-year standoff between Kenya and Sudan over the shelf life of tea has been fully resolved, paving the way for increased shipments to the northeastern African country. Sudan had petitioned Kenya to reduce the shelf life of tea from 3 to 2 years, an issue that the Tea Board of Kenya says has now been settled.
Tea export volumes to Sudan have not been optimum over the last 3 years after the northeastern African country raised concerns about the long shelf life of Kenyan tea. Sudan preferred that the shelf life of Kenyan tea exported there be reduced by a third to 2 years. A technical committee constituted by the two countries agreed to keep the shelf life of tea at 3 years, thereby settling the issue. This resolution that was reached after 3 years has lifted up export volumes by 41%, 2 million kilos for last year, according to the Tea Board of Kenya.
Instituted a technical committee between our tea researchers and also researchers in Sudan. They did experiments for the last 3 years, and they realized that there is no deterioration of value even at 3 years. So that standoff was resolved.
This has forced Kenya to focus on new markets in West Africa for orthodox tea.
We're focusing now on the issue of market. Where, after we've produced our very good teas, do we sell the tea?
But the markets are still there. We have a big market in Europe. We have a big market in America. And to some extent, China.
Plans are also underway to increase the acreage under specialty tea with a target of growing production to at least 4 million kilos annually in the short term.
South Africa's Sanlam Group and Germany's Allianz have announced a merger that is expected to create one of the biggest underwriters in Africa. The merger will see the two insurance companies combine their operations in 29 countries, Kenya included, with a 244 billion shillings portfolio. Last year, Allianz, one of the world's leading insurers and asset managers, became the majority shareholder in Jubilee General Insurance in Kenya, following the acquisition of a 66% stake in the Kenyan-based underwriter.
Allianz and Sanlam have in the recent years expanded their footprint and market share in the African market. In 2020, Allianz announced a strategic partnership with the Jubilee Holdings Limited. In the partnership structure, Allianz acquired controlling stakes in the general insurance business in Kenya, Tanzania and Uganda, as well as a short-term insurance segment in Burundi and Mauritius for a reported 10.8 billion shillings, while Jubilee Holdings retained a significant minority stake. Early this year, the Johannesburg headquarters Sanlam dropped the bid to increase stakes in Morocco's Saham Insurance, citing unmet conditions. In a statement signed by Allianz and Sanlam, the shareholding structure in the joint venture would be split 60-40, with Sanlam holding the controlling interest while Allianz holds a minority stake of 40%. Under the joint venture, Sanlam Limited and Allianz will house the business units of both Sanlam and Allianz in African countries where one or both companies have presence. Namibia and South Africa will be excluded from the agreement that is awaiting regulatory approvals. Regina Manyara reporting for Prime Edition.
And finally, in business, oil prices rose at the start of Asian trade on Wednesday after industry data showed drawdowns in U.S. crude and fuel stockpiles, raising supply concerns and offsetting worries about slowing demand from top importer China. More details of this and other stories are next in our international business briefs.
Brent crude futures rose 0.9% to $105.86 per dollar a barrel. West Texas Intermediate crude futures rose 1% to $103.38 a barrel. In the United States, crude and fuel stocks fell last week, according to market source citing American Petroleum Institute figures. Crude stocks fell by 3.5 million barrels for the week ended April 29th. During the previous sessions, demand worries stemming from China's prolonged COVID-19 lockdowns that curtailed travel plans during the Labor Day holiday season caused prices to fall by more than 2%. On Thursday, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and their allies are expected to stick to their policy for another monthly production increase, although the group known as OPEC has undershot output targets between October and March, except for February. Meanwhile, U.S. factory activity grew at its slowest pace in more than 15 years in April amid a rise in workers quitting their jobs. And manufacturers are becoming more anxious about supply over the summer because of COVID-19 outbreak in China. The Institute for Supply Management Index of National Factory Activity fell to a reading of 55.4 last month, the lowest since a Marching reading in September 2020 from 57.1 in March. The last time the index was lower in July 2020. A reading above 50 indicates expansion in manufacturing, which accounts for 12% of the U.S. economy. 5 of the 6 biggest manufacturing industries, machinery, computer and electronic products, food, transportation, equipment and chemical products, registered moderate to strong growth. Manufacturers offered a mixed assessment of supply chains. A separate report from the Commerce Department on Monday showed construction spending barely rose in March. The Federal Reserve is expected to hike interest rates by 0.5 percentage point on Wednesday. The U.S. Central Bank raised its policy interest rate by 25 basis points in March and is soon likely to start trimming its assets holding. Finally, Elon Musk said on Tuesday Twitter might charge a slight fee for commercial and government users, part of the billionaire entrepreneur's push to grow revenue, which has lagged behind larger rivals like Facebook. In tweets that were subsequently deleted, Musk suggested changes to Twitter Blue Premium subscription service, including slashing its prices, banning advertising, and giving an option to pay in the cryptocurrency.
people dream of success, while Good Morning Kenya is here to make that happen. Start your day with authentic updates that can make or break your day. Make sure you know before you go. Join Jane Wamboi, Doreen Okello, Regina Manyara, and Victor Olo to share every morning with you. It doesn't matter where you are. You can always access Good Morning Kenya from different devices. Good Morning Kenya. Every Monday to Thursday from 6:30 to 10 a.m. on KBC Channel 1.
La campena sima bobosa na ngaite atayo zui bomengo una bateki oye bono kisanga na yakikoluka musala ya secrétaire na yakite koteka zoto na ngaye soki tende na kende na ngashete
Well, good evening, and as always, it is an honor to have your company for KBC Sports with me, Richard Munga. On to a top story tonight, whereby Olympic 100-meter silver medalist Fred Kelly arrived in the country this morning ahead of the third edition of the KBC Classic that is slated for Saturday at the Kasarani Stadium. The 26-year-old American sprinter is a headline act in what on paper has the potential to be the fastest men 100 meters ever on African soil, with his rematch with Tokyo 2020 champion Italian Marcel Jacobs on card. However, the duo will face stiff opposition from Trevon Bromell, who won the last edition, and Africa record holder Ferdinand Omanyala. Fans will be allowed to witness the 2022 KBC Classic, with restrictions placed for the previous two editions due to the global COVID-19 pandemic relaxed by the Kenyan government.
It felt wonderful to get back. I set a PB at the end of my season last year, so it's wonderful to be back where I ended my season at last year. It's special to come back to our roots. It seemed like last year I came here, got a little bit more power in me.
Kenya Police men's hockey team registered their second win in the ongoing Gold Cup Invitational Tournament following the 3-2 win over USIU at the Sikh Union Stadium. In another match, Ghana's Exchequers were held to a 2-2 draw by Strathmore University.
USIU scored the opening goal in the 5th minute through Brian Kiplimo. Police equalized in the 15th minute through Titus Kimtai, while Samuel Oungo added the second for Police. Defender Robert Masibo scored the third goal for Police in the 36th minute. USIU pulled another goal back through Brian Kiplimo in the 52nd minute, but Police held on to register the victory. Police began their bid to claim the title on the wrong footing, losing 4-1 to the visiting Exchequers of Ghana and 1-0 to 2016 Kenyan champions Strathmore University Gladiators.
The game has just started. Majorly it is about the surface. They were not acquainted with the surface, now they are fine. And we are here to take the title.
So I'm glad that we lost because we've seen the gaps in terms of our playing. So that's what we hope to actually work on in the remaining days before Sunday.
We have to do things right. That is our attacking, and we go for the goals. Then we have the cup at the end of the day.
In another match, Ghana's Exchequers were held to a 2-2 draw by Strathmore University.
Athletics Kenya on Tuesday night received a team of junior athletes who jetted back into the country from Mihamas, France. The team has been undergoing specialized training at the Mihamas Athletics Club ahead of the World Junior Championships that are set to be staged in Cali, Colombia.
The team of 11 sprinters and field athletes has been undergoing specialized training at the Mihamas Athletics Club to sharpen their skills ahead of the World Junior Championship set to be held in Cali, Colombia. The team was accompanied by sprints coaches Andrew Maritim and Perpetual Mbutu, who are impressed with the progress of the juniors. Maritim said they will have a strong team for the global showpiece.
We achieved remember this is a preparation time for the training. The target together with the athletes, they are aware about their qualification, and for these remaining weeks, I believe we are going to achieve.
Athletes led by world under-20 400-meter bronze medalist Sylvia Chelagat said the lessons drawn from the program will propel her to more success this season. The national trials for the World Junior Championship will be held in July.
Now switching gears to other matters, Kenyan rally quartet Maxine Wahome, Jeremy Wahome, Mikre Kimathi and Hamza Anwar will make their debut in the Pearl of Africa Uganda rally this weekend. Kimathi, who will pilot the M Sport Poland Ford Fiesta Rally 3 car, while Jeremy will also drive the same car. Maxine, who will make her first appearance behind the wheel of a Subaru Impreza, while Hamza Anwar will drive a Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution X. The Pearl of Africa Uganda rally will count towards the third round of the FIA Africa Rally Championship after Rally Bandama of Ivory Coast and Kenya's Equator Rally. A total of 49 drivers will take part in the event, which has attracted 10 foreigners, including Kenya's leader Karen Patel, Nikhil Sechania, ARC leader Leroy Gomez of Zambia, and Rwandan speedster Giancarlo Davite. Internationally, Manchester City will attempt to reach a second successive Champions League final when they take on Spanish giants Real Madrid in the second leg of their semi-final tie at the Santiago Bernabeu. City hold a narrow advantage after a 4-3 victory at the Etihad Stadium in the first leg match.
Manchester City's England defender Kyle Walker could return after missing City's past 5 matches because